notice if you did.
We'll notice later. Hey guys, Jersey History Hunters here.
And today,
Have a friend with us.
Chigger! The Aquachigger!
He's here with us because he rocks.
Yeah, this is going to be awesome. This is a really cool place. I really appreciate you inviting me up.
We're super happy.
I'm
We
glad
appreciate you
I'm
coming.
glad you ordered nice weather.
oh yeah, I
that's
put in a
perfect.
special order.
You know, we try and do our best.
Yeah. So we're going to find anything today.
I think we will.
Yep, we took a nice tour of the building and now we're gonna head out here and start digging.
Yeah.
For those that remember, this was one of our first uploads, this area.
Yep.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
around
here, here.
Easter last year.
Wow.
Yep.
Sweet.
Easter Day.
This
Happy
is
Easter.
a really cool place.
Yeah.
It is. I love the museum. It was awesome. I could spend all day in there.
Yeah,
It's
we
just
didn't
so
even
much
see it all.
information. Fred, that guy is an encyclopedia.
For
For
sure.
sure.
For sure. We're like twins, aren't we? For sure.
Dude. You gotta say dude now.
Yeah.
Dude, yes, you do a lot.
Dude in
so.
peace.
Dude.
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 We didn't copy you with that, just so you know.
I copied Bart Simpson, so.
Oh, okay.
That's who
That's
we
where all my
copied.
stuff comes from, so.
Jinx.
That's who we copied.
You know, we're talking a lot. Just
All right.
chit-chatting,
Okay.
you know.
All right, so
Yeah.
we're gonna get to digging.
Dig in.
We'll see you in a bit.
Peace.
It would
Hey,
feed the
guys.
circle of the
Doing a little
incoming
tour.
wireless emanations
Kent
or
Evans,
wireless
we
waves
brought a
and
friend of ours.
magnify them or amplify them is the right word. So you could hear things. So once Armstrong had secured patents for this, he went and made an offer to the Marconi company to license this new circuit. So the Marconi company sent David Sarnoff, who was a manager at that time. He would become like a Bill Gates of his day, right? Yeah, David Sarnoff. And they tested that, he demoed, or that circuit was demoed to him down the river here. And they went from having to hold on like to earphones to hear stations from across the ocean to setting the earphones on the table, standing back 6 feet and being able to hear Hawaii and San Francisco and stuff like that. So that was a major leap in wireless reception technology. And it was a celebrated event in wireless, mainly because when later on he would become the president of RCA, he had like a promotional arm, and you know, he made himself an American hero. Okay, so anyway, now the next event that comes along is World War I. And what happens is this station is ready to open, but then war starts in Europe and the British government seizes the 2 stations in Wales, so this has no one to talk to. So it becomes an experimental technology development thing, but it also gets embroiled because the Germans were worried that the British were using this facility and sending secret coded messages to their fleet because there were no sensors here. The German station in nearby, they had sensors who read all the messages and listened. And the thing that this place suffers from is most of the work was top secret. Top secret documentation. Now,
Hello.
the team here,
Hello.
we think
For you.
in the basement
Rach.
of the Marconi
It's
building
for
in locked vaults. And then in the 1970s,
Hello.
a gun-ho general was in charge of the facility, and he had every door, every closet open tour, and he goes into this vault and goes, "What's this?" And in his memoirs, he brags about having that documentation burnt. So, you know,
That's interesting.
yeah. But anyway, that's history. But the stuff that we have found out is awesome. So the site is a national landmark for its service in World War II. So this is one little leg. Oh, this is part of the 400-foot towers.
Wow, that's cool.
And this piece is an anchor for that tower? Is that what that is?
It's for the guy wires that held up.
okay.
Let's see, here's like one of them. And here's
Have you found any yet of those?
No.
yeah, that really makes the
It
tone
would.
sing.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
finding the radio too.
And so you're approximately here now, and this was the line of towers.
Oh, wow.
And here was where the wire from the towers went, and that's where the equipment was. Okay. And at the time, like here's a 2-page New York Times
Insulators.
article, wireless around the world in 3 minutes. Okay. And this is a picture of the guys who built the antennas in the backyard. This is them here, and this is pictures of its companion station near New Brunswick. And this is the map of the world where the stations are. And at this time, some of these stations were still in construction, but it was pretty darn cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's continue on.
Let's continue.
These jukebox, and look at this fun thing they made.
Oh, neat.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
I remember
Yeah.
those.
Booth.
Right. Yep.
Look at that
Which-
Coke bottle.
Yeah.
Yep. You know, and the only time kids today can enjoy that is if their parents or grandparents take them at a nostalgia restaurant.
Yeah.
Now, here's one that frustrates me to no end. One of two. This is Tektronix oscilloscope. The maker of this company, the guy who created this company from scratch, he worked here during World War II. And his name is skipping, you'll remember it later. But he was working on a project, and Bill Hewlett, the H-6, built to last 5 years, the expected duration of the war. And because Camp Evans was always going to be closed after World War II, but some stuff kept coming up. Korea came up, then Vietnam, and they always seemed to need a place for their blacklist projects, so they always just maintained this site. So in 1993, when they said, okay, we have to shrink down Fort Monmouth and its development work, so they said, let's get rid of Camp Evans and turn it over to the civilians for development. It was this time capsule of a World War II and Cold War development laboratory laid over top of a Marconi World War I wireless station. So you had the Marconi Corporation here, the RCA Corporation here.
It's pretty neat, the diagram, isn't it?
Now, lots of, this is all for itself. The professional organization that takes care of this and created it is called the Association of All Crows. Because a crow in England is called a raven, and I don't know who was first, whether they called themselves the crows or the New Jersey Historical Divers Association, and this is they started with a table in our first building, then one room in the Marconi Hotel, and now they have 5 rooms here, okay, of which this one is their, and this one is their display room. They have some stuff they worry about, so that one's always locked. But Marconi's, before Marconi's wireless came, going across the Atlantic was very risky, and thousands of people died every year in ship accidents. And the New Jersey coast is littered with over 5,000 shipwrecks that they know of, right? So these are some artifacts of them. And so, beautiful, yeah. And there's our hero Marconi, and there's the Titanic. And like a lot of these ships you can dive on, and it's really cool. And every shipwreck is a time capsule of when it went down. And what survives, it doesn't decay, tells you about technology and life at that time. One of the known major shipwrecks was the Andrea Doria. This is an artifact from the Andrea Doria. It's the gyro pilot.
Cool.
Yeah. And now here's one. I used to dive, and because of diving, I accidentally learned about the history of this site when I would research the shipwrecks that I would dive on in archives. I kept running into these stories about this guy Marconi and how his wireless was saving lives by being able to tell people, hey, we're going down, right? Well, this writer named Dr. Harold Zoll, his writings were in a lot of the archives because he told these stories about how, oh, by the way, our World War II radar laboratory was built on top of Marconi Station. And when we did our initial radar demos, we put our equipment on the same spot as Marconi's 1899 first demo of wireless. So accidentally, I got a background in here. So it was, you know, I had the background to say, no, 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 don't demolish this. We don't need another industrial park. So this is a ship, when you would have a mill, you would have your grindstones, and you know, they didn't have Home Depots then. So you would contract for a company to bring in grindstones, and what happened is this ship went down, its grindstones are laying on the bottom like Oreo cookies spilled out of the box, and then a few years later, an early generation single hull metal ship lost its boiler in a storm and hit the grindstones and sank on top. So one
shipwreck on the shipwreck.
Yep, one swim from the beach, 2 shipwrecks.
Do you know where most of these came from? Was there like a certain area that manufactured them? Or?
That I don't know. My buddy here, Dan Lee, which my sweetheart and I had dinner with him and his wife last night, he would know that. But, you know,
Fascinating.
yeah, it's really fun. So, we'll, the other page, and this one he didn't say, well, and here's your proof, but in all the space between here and Los Alamos, when they did test bomb drops with dynamite instead of nuclear explosives, they did it in a range in south of here. And so to me, that's like they had to be close to here.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so.
Can you imagine the Germans would have had the atomic bomb first?
Yeah. Well,
And that was a big fear.
oh, I know. I now work in
See
the
this
Princeton
guy?
Physics Department,
Yes.
so I've seen
I'm
presentations that
related to
actually
him,
held
Lee DeForest.
the
He invented
nuclear
the
material
actual
that was to make up
radio
their
tube
first
for
core.
audio
Okay?
tube,
You
and
know?
he sold it to
Yeah.
RCA.
Yeah, I mean,
Yep. And if it wasn't for the anti-Semitism
Pretty cool.
that they drove out of the country, they had the brain power to do it.
stupidity of Hitler.
They had a World War II antenna over there. There's pictures on the website of it. Project Diana. They took a World War II radar antenna, 150 feet tall, and with specialized radar equipment, part of it provided by Edwin Armstrong of FM radio fame and regenerative circuit fame. They bounced the first signal off the moon that proved that you could get radio and radar waves through the ionosphere, because the general feeling at the time, the whole world, the whole industry of sending radio waves across the oceans was, pretend this is a layer of the atmosphere, my arm here curving with them, you'd send a radio wave off, it would bounce off layers of the ionosphere and go across the ocean. So the general feeling was you couldn't send radio waves through. Well, that was true except for appropriate wavelengths, and the team here demonstrated that reliably. Of course, there are people who said, oh, we did it first, blah, blah, but this was the first reproducible, validated one, and that was Project Diana. Then the project was used, they took a captured Würzburg Riese, a German experimental radar that was used in the protection of German-held France, and they brought one of the units here, they rebuilt it, and that was here to spot our first satellite launch called Vanguard, but the Soviets beat us to the punch, okay? Whether we let them or not, that's one of the things that the people here who were developing part of the satellite package were told to slow down, and they believed they were told to slow down so the Soviets could win, because that established that you could fly a satellite over anywhere on the planet, okay? I don't know if that's true, but then they built another dish here, and supposedly that was to track Soviet missile launches, and because this is original name, it was built in 1958. It was called the Silent Sentinel, okay, to look for enemy launchers